Reserve.
He fell here. He shot about 3 times after he fell. And he walked over to me and he pointed the gun at me and asked me if I was going to tell it.
This woman is 82 years old, and she just watched her grandson get chased into a field and shot multiple times right in front of her.
He was a real soft-hearted person. He did it whatever he could to help anybody. He was a really nice person.
But the man who did it was not some stranger off the street. He was somebody who sat in Marcus Wheatley's chair for years. Somebody the family knew by name and had literally just had a top 25 Billboard record. And 2 days before this happened, someone close to the shooter went to law enforcement and tried to warn them, but they never found him in time. To actually understand how this whole thing unfolded, you have to know both people involved, because this was not some random beef between strangers. This was a personal relationship that went back years, and that history is a big part of what makes this story so hard to process.
They're amazed I'm still standing. These jolly motherfuckers can't stop the play I tyranny. I cut my people off, they all giving fan behavior. I'ma just stick to
Kadarius Pride, who the world would come to know as Superstar Pride, was born on March 15, 2002 in Batesville, Mississippi. He grew up in the nearby town of Sardis, which is in a county called Panola County. If you are not from the American South, the easiest way to picture Panola County is to imagine a place where everybody either knows each other directly or knows somebody who does. This is where the nearest big city is Memphis, Tennessee, about 30 minutes up the road, and where the economic options for young people are very limited. Pride's childhood was not easy. He talked about it openly in interviews, including one with the Bootleg Kev podcast, where he described watching his family's situation change dramatically when he was still very young.
What was your childhood like? Like, how'd you grow up? Like, because it's obviously small area in Mississippi. Were you playing sports? Were you like, what were you into when you were a kid, man?
Man, I'm gonna be real, man. I wasn't interested in nothing but the streets. I'm gonna be real. And then it got to the point where that life got so boring. Like, so quick. Like, before 7, I hadn't seen so much in the streets. Like,
Before 7?
Before 7.
Jesus.
Before 7, I probably seen more than the average 16-year-old ever see.
Right.
Like, and got so tied up, and shit, mama tired of it. And she really falling off. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm watching the game. Like, I ain't saying like she just fell off, but I'm watching it from the lifestyle. It go from Jordans every week to goddamn, you ain't getting this day. You go from, you know what I'm saying? Go from sharing meals, and you go from eating and then sharing meals, and you watching this going downhill to eating out, and then you getting sandwiches and sardines and noodles and goddamn, hot dogs, smoked sausages and ham and cheese, and you know what I'm saying? You got all kind of shit, you know what I'm saying?
You talking about just at home, like, kind of started to go left in terms of the money coming in?
Life, it was over. You watching this shit going from all that eating out and moving around to, like I say, all that. You going from stuck in the house, can't move, stuck in the projects, you know what I'm saying? You can't move. You stuck. You in that motherfucker. One way in, one way out, and then you gotta be in for the street lights, and you can't go outside the territory, like, you know what I'm saying? Just an apartment. You can't go outside of this. Whatever you gonna do all day then you can't stay in the house.
So you gotta go hang out outside.
You gotta go outside, and you can't be around your porch.
Right.
You gotta go everywhere out here, but around here where you at. But when the street lights come on, you gotta go home. When you see the first street light, you gotta be home.
Pride said before he was 7 years old, he had already seen more than most teenagers ever see. He described watching his family go from having money to barely getting by, from eating out at restaurants to sharing plates of sardines, noodles, and smoked sausage at home. He grew up in housing where you had strict rules about not crossing outside your block after dark. The streets were everything, whether you chose them or not, and the environment around you shaped who you became before you were old enough to make your own decisions about it. Despite all of that background, Pride managed to stay out of legal trouble. He had no criminal record and no known gang affiliations, which was something people who knew him pointed out after the arrest because it genuinely surprised them. After a brief time in college and an unsuccessful attempt to get into the basketball world through the G League, he went to work at his uncle's auto shop in Sardis, building engines from scratch for $20 an hour while using his spare time to make music.
Yo, what were you doing at the car shop? Like, what was your job?
Man, my uncle got a car shop. He build motors.
So you were like a mechanic?
Yeah.
So you be
taking
like
rear ends and shit.
So you know your way around like an engine? Like, could you change your own oil?
I could change my own oil. I just ain't gonna work on nobody else's car.
Just you know.
Change my own oil and brakes. That's it.
You can do brakes and oil.
That's it. And all I'm doing for me. But if I'm doing some work, I got a little knowledge. I can get some.
I'm curious, like working in a car shop in 2023, does most of the business that comes in people who had their catalytic converter stolen and you have to put new ones in?
I ain't doing none of that.
No, I'm saying because the catalytic converters get jacked everywhere. So I'm assuming if you're a car shop, that's where they come. They got to come get a new one.
That's what I'm saying. This shop I working in, they strictly focus on building motors. Like they build motors. Like they literally, that's it.
From scratch.
From scratch. It's just a block.
He started making music as early as age 6 or 7, inspired by a friend of his mother's who produced beats, and by his teenage years he was recording on his phone and tablet and posting things to SoundCloud. He built up accounts on every platform he could figure out: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and for a long time nothing really broke through the way he needed it to. He was getting some views and some decent numbers, but not enough to change his situation.
That changed in late 2022 when he released a project called 5 Pounds of Pressure, an EP whose title references the amount of force needed to pull a gun's trigger. The standout song from that project was called Painting Pictures, and it would go on to be the record that put his name out to the world.
So wait, the night's still young. You live by the gun, you gon' die by the gun. Ain't no handouts for nobody. When they ain't have shit, they ain't offer me nothing. When I'm quiet, I be thinking about killers. A lot of nigga bitch may stay in they feelings. Saving these hoes, this shit here pitiful. All these little bit of bitch my chillers. And mama, don't worry me. You raised a gangster, I'm a survivor. It hurt me not being able to give you what you want since I was a toddler. Shout out to my pops for all the free game. Everything he ever told me is stuck in my brain. Real OG status and like to make a change. Shed the tears right there since so much pain. All the shite shit that I done, blessed not being no change. Uncle killed me when I was young, mom blessed the boy with the cocaine. Growing up, I ain't have no daddy. My mama played both roles. Been hard on a nigga since I came out the womb. Yeah, the pussy hole. I was taught to trust none. Face your problem, never run.
On the other side of this story, you have Marcus Wheatley, the 40-year-old man who lost his life on July 19th. Wheatley was a barber who had been working in the Sardis and Batesville community for years, and by all accounts, he was one of those people that a neighborhood genuinely relies on. His grandmother described him as a soft-hearted man who would do anything to help someone around him without needing to be asked. The sheriff both described Wheatley and Pride as longtime friends and acquaintances, people who had built a real relationship over years of interactions. Wheatley was Pride's barber, including the person responsible for the very haircut that would go viral and launch Pride's entire career into the spotlight.
He was a real soft-hearted person. He did whatever he could to help anybody. He was a really nice person.
Mary Ann Strong is the grandmother of 40-year-old Marcus Wheatley, gunned down Wednesday behind his mobile home where he was a barber. Strong says she saw Kadarius Pride, a.k.a. Superstar Pride, the man charged with Wheatley's death, enter the mobile home, heard loud voices, and saw an armed Pride chase her grandson out of the mobile home.
In February of 2023, Pride posted a performance clip of Painting Pictures on TikTok, and the response was almost immediate.
the video went from a few thousand views to 250,000 within hours.
These little bit of bitch my chillin'. And mama, don't worry, you raised a gangster, I'm a survivor. It hurt me not being able to give you what you want since I was a toddler. Shout out to my pops for all the free game, everything you ever told me. It's stuck in my brain, real OG status, ain't like to make a change. Shed the tears right this since so much pain.
He went to sleep that night, still trying to understand what was happening, and woke up to 1.2 million. A few days later, when he posted another clip, that one reached 2.3 million views in just 4 hours.
What was the thing that like, do you know kind of like what was the moment or two that kind of really popped this record off, where you kind of noticed it to like really kind of like take off?
Yeah, it very went crazy when I put it on TikTok. I put it on TikTok, and it went from 3,000 views to 10,000 views, and 10 to 50 to 100 to, you know.
And it was just up.
It went from TikTok to YouTube. That's when it got real. You feel me? I watched my subscribers started going up. But the first time I seen it, I made it home from working at the car shop. I was working at a car shop at the time. When I had posted video, I was going through a lot, you know what I'm saying? So I had ended up taking that pain and just putting it into what I was finna do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I took that and dropped that music, and then I took the pain from dropping the music and put it in pushing it without no money though. So I had to find a way without no money.
And for you, it was going to TikTok, making like content that...
No, the crazy part is, I try everything. Like, I built up every platform. Like, I did the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, the Audio Mac, you know what I'm saying, doing my main 3, 4, and I had YouTube I'm working on.
What made the clip spread so fast was a mix of things. The music itself connected because of his voice and the honesty in the lyrics, the way he rapped about pressure, pain, and surviving. But the internet also picked up on his haircut, that same specific cut Marcus Wheatley had given him, and it became a meme that was everywhere. People were joking about it while sharing the song, and the sharing is what made it grow. Painting Pictures peaked at number 25 on the Billboard Hot 100, sat at number 9 on the R&B and hip-hop chart, and charted internationally in countries like New Zealand at number 6 and Australia at number 20. It was certified gold. The song did briefly get pulled from streaming platforms because of an uncleared sample from a Faith Evans record, but once that got sorted out, nothing could slow it down.
There was a full bidding war, and Pride flew to Miami to meet with Steve Stout, the founder of United Masters.
He was signed to United Masters, and he was arrested and charged with first-degree. I want to know, what was your reaction when you heard that news?
It bothered me because he was such a stand-up guy. Like, when we signed him, there was another bidding war. And he came to Miami, and I sat with him and told him about the value of being independent. And he comes from a small town, like 20,000 people. And he wanted like $5 million from a label. And when they didn't give him $5 million, they were offering him $3. He's like, if it ain't 5, I'm not signing it.
He turned down $3 million because it was not 5. He went with United Masters, stayed independent, kept control of his own work, and quit the auto shop. By spring of 2023, he had over 100,000 Instagram followers, was getting played on radio stations in multiple cities, and was sitting for interviews with Billboard magazine. Steve Stout had told people that if Pride showed more range, he could own the entire year. But while all of that was happening on the surface, something was going wrong with Pride behind the scenes, and his family could see it. On July 17th, 2023, 2 days before the shooting, a member of Pride's family walked into the Panola County Sheriff's Office and signed paperwork requesting that deputies locate Cavadarius and bring him in for a mental health evaluation. In Mississippi, when a family believes someone close to them is a danger to themselves or the people around them, they can make this kind of formal request. It is called a writ in the county, and it is a way of asking law enforcement to step in when a family feels helpless. The fact that his family filed it means they were genuinely afraid of what might happen.
Deputies searched 2 different addresses looking for Pride and did not find him at either one. The search ended and the paperwork was logged, and that was as far as it went. 2 days later, a 911 call came in from Highway 35 North on the afternoon of July 19, 2023 at around 12:30. Deputies from the Panola County Sheriff's Office responded to a 911 call about a shooting at a residence on Highway 35 North in the Cold Springs area of Panola County. When they arrived, they found Marcus Wheatley outside on the ground with multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The key witness to what actually happened that afternoon was Mary Ann Strong, Wheatley's grandmother, who was 82 years old at the time and was present at the house when Pride arrived. Her account became the foundation for what investigators understood about the sequence of events, and she gave it directly to local news cameras without hesitation. According to Strong, Pride came to the house without being invited. She heard loud voices inside, then watched as Pride, who was carrying a gun, chased Marcus Wheatley out of the mobile home and into an open field next to the property. She followed outside and saw what happened next in real time.
Strong says she saw Kadarius Pride, aka Superstar Pride, the man charged with Wheatley's death, enter the mobile home, heard loud voices, and saw an armed Pride chase her grandson out of the mobile home.
And the young man was following him, shooting at him, and he finally shot him down.
Strong ran to this field and she watched in horror as Pride continued to fire at her grandson.
He fell here. He shot about 3 times after he fell. And he walked over to me and he pointed the gun at me and asked me if I was going to tell it.
And then, according to her account, it still was not over.
She says she had no idea what Pride meant, but she says he wasn't finished.
And he came back out here and fired a last shot in his head.
She says Pride left in his red pickup truck, later found abandoned in Pope, Mississippi. He later turned himself in to the Panola County Sheriff's Office.
As for what caused all of this, investigators said the motive was unclear to them, which is something that needs context. Sheriff Shane Phelps described the situation as a puzzle and a senseless tragedy, precisely because these two men had a friendship that stretched back years, and nothing in their history publicly suggested something this violent was building. But Mary Ann Strong gave reporters her own understanding of what started it.
But Mary Ann Strong believes the shooting resulted from Wheatley's refusal to take part in one of Pride's music videos in California.
He wanted Marcus to follow him, and Marcus couldn't do it. He couldn't help him make more money.
According to the only eyewitness, Marcus said no to being in a music video, and that was enough. To be fair, no official motive has ever been confirmed by law enforcement or any court, and it is important to say that clearly. But her version of events is the only account we have from someone who was actually standing there, and law enforcement took her testimony seriously enough to move quickly. Pride's father gave a brief statement to reporters shortly after, saying only that it was too soon to speculate and that the family needed to understand what had happened first.
Pride's father could offer no reason for what his son allegedly did.
You know, it's still just something that's got to be looked into and to see what all transpired. You know, as of now, it's just so early.
But Mary Ann Strong believes the shooting resulted from Wheatley's refusal to take part in one of Pride's music videos in California.
Within hours of the shooting, the investigation pointed to Pride as the suspect. His family got in contact with the sheriff's office and agreed to bring him in. At 4:47 that same afternoon, Pride turned himself in to the Panola County Detention Center and was booked on a charge of first-degree murder, held without bond from the very beginning. At a bond hearing on July 25, 2023, a judge officially denied him bond, citing the risk he represented to the public. He has been inside the Panola County Detention Center since that day. The evidence in this case that is available to the public is limited, and that is worth being transparent about. No forensic reports, autopsy, or ballistics information have ever been released publicly. What exists in the public record is Mary Ann Strong's eyewitness account, the physical evidence gathered at the scene, and Pride's voluntary surrender on the same day. Full case documents, indictment records, and court filings are held by the Panola County Circuit Court and cannot be accessed online without a formal request to the clerk's office. When Steve Stout, who had signed Pride just weeks before, found out what happened, he was direct about how it made him feel.
I want to speak to one of your newest talents, one of your brightest upstarts. It was in an unfortunate predicament, Superstar Pride. He was signed to United Masters and he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. I want to know, what was your reaction when you heard that news?
It bothered me because he was such a stand-up guy. Like, when we signed him, there was another bidding war. And he came to Miami and I sat with him and told him about the value of being independent. And he comes from a small town, like 20,000 people. And he wanted like $5 million from a label. And when they didn't give him $5 million, they were offering him $3 million. He's like, if it ain't $5 million, I'm not signing it. I'm like, what? But the values, you know, values have value.
Values have value.
Values have value. That's what he wanted. And if it wasn't gonna be that, he wasn't moving. When that shit happened 3 weeks later, man, I was like, how many times is this gonna be the same? Another young kid who gets money, who has an opportunity to change his life, gets 1 foot pulled back in his shit, and then does something that's stupid. Now, look, I don't know, obviously he's charged with, he didn't go to trial yet, but the fact that he was even in that circumstance is the problem. Man had a #1 record.
That last part matters for how you understand the legal situation. Stout says clearly that Pride had not gone to trial yet, and that is still true more than 2 years later. As of the latest confirmed reporting, there has been no trial, no plea deal, and no sentencing. The case has remained in the pre-trial stage, which is not unusual for a serious charge in a rural Mississippi county, where courts are often dealing with heavy caseloads and limited resources. Claims on TikTok and Instagram that Pride was sentenced to 55 years in prison have circulated widely, but not a single credible news outlet or official court record has confirmed any sentence. Because Panola County's court records are not searchable online, unverified information spreads fast, and people believe it. What can be confirmed is that he has been held without bond since July 19, 2023, and the case status remains pending. Pride has continued releasing music from inside the facility. He put out an album called Mama Don't Worry on December 25th, 2023, and a mixtape called GED on July 4, 2024. Some of his recorded tracks were made over jail phone calls, and you can actually hear the facility's automated message at the start of the audio, warning that the call is being monitored. His team uploads the music through United Masters while he remains inside. The violence did not stay contained to what happened in that field either. In the weeks after Pride's arrest, 2 separate shootings hit people connected to his family, which local reporting linked to possible retaliation for Wheatley's death. A woman was shot in the arm in Batesville. A relative was shot on Osborne Street, the same address Pride had listed as his own home. No one was publicly charged in connection to either shooting in relation to the murder case.
What this whole story keeps coming back to is a question that has no comfortable answer. A man with no criminal record, with genuine talent, with real music industry momentum, made a decision on a Wednesday afternoon that destroyed everything he had and took the life of someone who, by every available account, had done nothing to deserve it.
His own family tried to get him help 48 hours before it happened. Law enforcement went looking for him and came up empty. And Marcus Wheatley, who his grandmother said was one of the kindest people she had ever known, ended up in a field with no way out.
He was a real soft-hearted person. He did whatever he could to help anybody. He was a really nice person.
Do you think Wheatley's refusal to feature in the music video was what really triggered Pride? Let me know in the comments section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.